When playing single note jazz lines, when you're improvising, the predictable and typical thing that often comes out in our soloing is to play a line which either goes up or a line that goes down. And for me, this is probably a direct result of our scale practice, in that often that's the way we continue to practice scales and just play them up and down. The same can be said for arpeggios, and as a result, when we try and use these things musically and trying to create our own phrases, often they come out in that way too. Analyze solo lines and you'll find plenty of examples where that does happen, but you'll also find plenty of examples where a change of octave midway through a line can have a massive impact on the feel and overall interest. In today's jazz guitar lesson, I want to show you how you can do this with your scale practice, and we're going to do it with the major scale. Anything you see on the screen is available as a PDF. Check the link in the description for that. Taking the C major scale here, we're going to go C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. So that's going up, completing an octave. Now what we can do very simply is, at different points within the scale, we can drop an octave to complete the scales. And so look at these 3 bars on the screen. The first bar is playing the scale in order. The second bar, we're going to complete the scale and get the last 2 notes an octave lower. So we're going to go C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Here's bar 1, bar 2. So you're still completing the C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. You're just dropping lower beneath where you started to complete it. Now the next bar, we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to drop and get the A beneath. So we're going to go C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Changes the momentum of the line and it's unexpected, isn't it? Now these next 4 bars on the screen is to complete that, going through the other notes in the same way. So this time we're going to go up to F and then drop for the G. C, D, E, F, G. So instead of going up to that note, we're getting that note there. For the F, this is a bit more surprising, I think, once we get to these ones. I like the interval that creates. And then the third bar there, we're going to go C, D, then drop for the E. So C, D, E. Again, preserving the C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, but just dropping an octave in order to complete the scale. Finally, we're going to start on a C and then drop immediately to complete the scale and get the second D here. So C, D. So what we're getting is, obviously, instead of predictably playing the scale ascending, we change midway through the scale, and we're still, we drop and then ascend again. So you could do it anywhere on the fretboard in any scale position and with any scale. Anything we can do up, we can do down as well. So this time we're going to descend the scale, and if you look at these 3 bars on the screen, here's the C major scale descending. So let's drop for the D. So we're going to go C, B, A, G, F, E, D, C. And then for the E, C, B, A, G, F, E, D, C. Put those 3 together. So we get C, B, A, G, F, E, D, C. Then C, B, A, G, F, E, D, C. Then C, B, A, G, F, E, D, C. And this last one I like. C, B, because you get that interval. Then down. What song's that from? Moon River, I think. With your scale practice, once you get to a point where you can play a scale technically, you can play it up and down, you need to somehow change how you're doing things, whether it be things like groupings or things like this, in order to get more from it, to aid you to create more musical ideas and varying the sort of ideas you're creating. So with any scale practice, just remember that at any point within the sequence you can jump or drop an octave, and it will make a big difference to the way it sounds. I think this is very common on a lot of instruments where they have less of a range. Also, you can do it also to get out of trouble when you run out of notes. Say if say I was doing the C major scale up here and I didn't want to get to all the thin sounding notes, I could go like that, drop an octave to save myself going higher up here. Say if I run out of range down here, C, B, A, G, F, jump, E, D, C. I suppose I could have used the E and gone like that too. If I was you at this point, I'd be thinking, great, more scale practice, but does that lead to creating ideas? Well, let me show you how this idea can modify an idea and get more from it. And I'll put these on the screen. This is my idea that we're going to change. Something to be played over a C chord or a C6 chord or C major 7. We've got a starting on a D, going up an E minor triad there, and then we're up to a D again, chromatic passing note to a C. For something to play over a C chord. Now that line goes up, then back down. So here's 3 ways we could vary it. In bar 1 we've got the original line. So here's the second bar, and instead of going between that D and the E, we're going to drop an octave for the E. So this is the first bar. And the second. Same idea, just it's falling differently on the guitar and it's sounding different. The third bar, we're going to play the first 2 notes of the original idea and then drop an octave. I think it's less expected, isn't it? So the first 3 bars sound like this. Fourth bar, let's play the first 2 notes of the original line, then drop an octave. So that was dropping an octave. We can also jump up an octave. So let's look at this line we've got, and I've got, again, 3 variations of it where we can change octave to vary the line. Here's the original line. Again for a C chord. Kind of pentatonic-y line. In that second bar, we're going to jump an octave for the penultimate note to finish it off. There. So here's the first bar, second bar, and the third bar, we're going to jump earlier. There. Here's bars 1, 2, and 3. And finally, the last one, we jump octave straight away. Instead of going down to the C, there we go up for it. You can do this kind of practice to any melodic content. What do I think it helps with? Well, I think what it helps with is working on hearing stuff either in the higher octave or the low octave. Say if we had this, C scale here, it's very straightforward to hear all of that. It's not as easy to hear that E there, say, as a note to go to, compared to that one. That's do-da, but do-da, do-da. But it's still a viable note you can go for. So it's trying to expand what you can hear, but it's also about that, say, that element of surprise in a line. Instead of a predictable, could be that, or so you've got that C, D, E, could become C, D, E, or like that, which is just going to create more interest to your lines, and those jumps make your moves less predictable and give you different intervals as well. If you have any questions or comments, then do leave them below. What do you think of the effect of changing octave mid a line, mid a scale? What do you think the effect is? I think it's a really useful tool to have for your improvising. If you'd like more tips and things on how to practice the major scale for your improvisation, or just have a better grasp of it, then check out my ebook on practicing the major scale for the jazz guitar player, and link in the description over at my website. My next lesson will be on chromatics of the major scale, which sounds like an interesting title, but make sure you watch that one so it will complement this lesson and the last one. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. Until next time, you take care.